Hello and welcome to BJA Today. The smile that you see on my face is because I am about to have this wonderful conversation with people that I admire, that I truly love. This family, you guys, oh gosh, I just wept up with tears. Okay. This family's story is a story of God's loving kindness, His tender mercies, His redemptive power, His orchestration that's like nothing else that you have ever seen. And the orchestration continues all the days of your life. He will orchestrate your life if you will allow Him. And the Pavey family is an example of that. Welcome, my guest. Thank you guys for being here. I cannot believe, especially, I'm going to call you what I call my students, with your rusty self over here, that I got teared up because of introducing you. Okay. You're just sweet. But Daddy, Anyway, I don't know if you know how much we love you all's story. It's not often that someone can just say, here I am. This is what God has done. To have the bravery to do that. I admire you, sir. That's how you lead a household. Please tell us your story.
Well, it started a long time ago when Caitlin was born. My wife and myself met at a restaurant. I was managing a restaurant. She came in to be a server. And when she came in, I was like, man, she's pretty cute. And I said, I better
and
go.
She is.
And she is. She still is. And I said, I need to go interview her. And somebody else was interviewing her. I sat down and made sure she had a drink. And she ended up getting hired. And then we started flirting at the restaurant. And what a lot of people didn't know, and Caitlin and them didn't know until much later in life, was that I was married and going through a divorce, and then she was married to a service member who was overseas. And one thing led to another, and she got pregnant with Caitlin, and she decided to try to make it work with her spouse, and then it didn't work out. But then when Caitlin was born, she had high-risk pregnancy, and no one knew that she had one arm. And we had like several ultrasounds, and nothing ever showed up on the ultrasound that she had one arm. I was not in the delivery room, and then when she was born, my wife was the first to see her, and then she was whisked out of the room, and a nurse came and got me and says, hey, I want to prepare you for what you're about to see. And I said, okay.
So, has she seen Caitlin at that point?
My wife did.
She did see.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, but they took Caitlin out of the room because of not knowing that she had one arm. They wanted to make sure everything else was checked
right.
out with her.
Mm-hmm.
So then they came and got me, and I'm looking at Caitlin, and I said, is her brain okay? Yeah. Is her heart okay? Yeah. And I said, well, what's wrong? She said, well, her one arm, it just looked a little chicken wing looking at me, and I was like, I can deal with the arm.
Right.
I mean, if everything else is okay, like I can deal with the arm. So then, fast forward, her mother and I ended up getting together. We're married, been married over 20 years now. So that's how it started.
Eric, how did you get the strength to first tell your story? You and your wife have to come into agreement. This is your church family. What happened inside of you as the leader of that household?
The first thing was talking over with my wife, and we told Tyler no 3 times. He asked.
He told us that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So we told him no 3 times because it wasn't so much not wanting our story to be told, but just there's been so many stories done about Caitlin and our family, and we wanted, it's just, we didn't want to be looked at differently.
Right.
But also, of course, your sins are on your background, and then they're going to be up on the big screen. But then as we just kept praying about it, I mentioned it to her, she mentioned it to me, and we said our church's motto was, if you can help one person find and follow Jesus, would you do it? And it kept resonating with us, and we just had to, you have to answer yes. Like, if you can help one person with your story, would you do it? I mean, if you want them to be in heaven with you, would you do it? And it has to be a yes. So we said, okay, we'll do it. So then we asked Caitlin, and Caitlin said, no, I don't want to do it. So then I asked her the same question. I said, one person was inspired by your story and they're with you in paradise at the end, would you do it? And she said, yes, I'll do it. So then at that point, we were kind of all in.
The movie is called I Can, and the name says it all. If it says I can, with just a little bit that we know about your testimony, there was a moment that said, wait a minute, can I?
Yeah.
As you asked your baby girl to remove all privacy, to let people get up all in your Kool-Aid, you know, because folk be nosy sometimes, they don't need to be, but you know, okay, amen. So how did you handle that when Dad said it, like inside of you? Because there are certain things that a daughter will never, ever say to their papa, especially as one as big and as this one. How did you really feel?
When he asked me
when
about
he asked you?
Personally, I was still kind of struggling with it because I sin, everybody sins, and I was like, I don't want to be seen as someone on a pedestal because I'm not.
Right.
And I also didn't think I had a story, and I didn't know if I really wanted to share that with everybody. And then I got really thinking about it. I was like, well, there's people here at this church that have a story that I thought was better than mine and that they need to share. But like my dad said, if I can help one person or if I can inspire one person, would I do it? And if I'm doing it for God, would I do it? And I said yes.
If I can inspire one person, and if I'm doing it for God, yes. There's so much you could say for saying no, but your yes can change lives. We'll be back in a moment to talk about the yes that changed their lives and so many others. We'll be right back.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I think I found the best play I've seen in a long time.
Wait, is this the girl with one arm?
We did not bring her into this world the right way. So she didn't come out the right way.
Let's call it what it was, an affair.
You have an incredible gift from God.
You think God is punishing you for what we did through our daughter's arm. People already look at me differently. Why didn't God stop that?
I know lately it feels like you've been on the losing streak. Maybe all of us, huh?
You can't keep living your life like God is punishing you.
You carry so much burden on your shoulders that you clearly can't handle.
Look around and see how much God, He's blessed you.
God don't make mistakes. He's got a plan in all of this. He always does.
You know, there's these moments in your life that you would consider private, but then you get an unction from God that it is no longer private, but it is a testimony that will help someone else. And He can literally say to you, I need you to do this now. there was a now moment in the lives of the Pavey family. When you think back of the start, you said yes, you said we're going to do this, and now it's all of these elements that, I don't know, have you ever been in a movie before?
No.
Have you ever been a part of a story like, so then you take a look at, wait a minute, this is a lot more than I signed up for, right? Eric, what did you have in your mind once you said, yes, we'll do it? You are speaking with your family, with your wife, with your children, and you say yes, and then there's scripts. And
Yeah, I first thought it was kind of like a documentary that the church would just show to try to get, to show an inspirational story or redemption story, not what it's turned into be today.
Yeah.
But what's really neat is to see what God's done since she was born until now has been coming to fruition, and what he's been able to accomplish through just this movie, on how we got introduced to you all and how we got introduced to other people and other things, to see him work and to sit back and let him work. So if God opens that door, you got to walk through it and just trust him and just go with it.
But I know for a fact you ran through it. I'm like, yeah. This man is like, you've never done a movie where you were just like, okay, your PR, your marketing, your this, your that. There was such a vitality with every time we spoke, every time I saw you, you just were in it.
Yeah, our family's not making a dime from this movie. Our church isn't. This is just a strictly outreach program as we wanted. And the reason I think I did that is Tyler, we're study partners and we teach a Bible study together, and he's kept reminding me, as well as my wife, that while we're doing this for the right reasons and doing it for Christ. So having that said and done, I also wanted to protect my family's story, because this is still my family. Right. And I don't want it to be seen in a way that it shouldn't be seen in. So I want to make sure I was there for every part of it, and every aspect of it. So, and if you know me, and you can ask my wife, like, I never stop. So if I'm given a task, I just keep going until it's done. And that's the way I saw this movie was, Tyler said, we need fundraising. I'm like, okay, I'm on it. And we just do it. And then we go.
But you had to think back of when you found out that your baby girl had a smaller arm than the other. And then there's this moment in her toddler years that said, wait a minute, she's a little different.
Yeah.
There's something about this kid. Yeah. What did you see that shifted the whole spectrum of what doctors might have said and people might have thought?
Oh, there's several, and I think we could write a book about it. But you were like, what, 2? And I got her out of the bathtub. She was laying on the floor, and I dropped a ball. I had a squishy ball, and I dropped it, and she caught it. I was like, and had been involved with sports my whole life. My brother, sports family. I'm like, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna do it again. So I dropped it, and she caught it again. I was like, okay. So then she was old enough to sit up. I went to Walmart and bought one of those Velcro gloves and started throwing a ball at her so she could catch it. And then she could start catching it at a very young age, at like 3 years old. And I said, okay, that's pretty good. She's got great hand-eye coordination. So I thought she could make like high school sports, but to get where she's at today, I never thought that that's where she would be able to get.
I can imagine your face when you see her go, whoop, yep. Got it, whoop, got it. Yeah. And she's a toddler.
Yeah.
And then to fast forward to this film, and you have to talk a young woman through who is an actress who's going to play you. Okay, I will tell you that I do know you said, I'm not doing this. I'm not an actress. This ain't going to happen. Yeah, I heard about all that.
I had a tryout, actually.
Oh, you had a tryout?
On Zoom. And they said I didn't make it, so.
Now you can't even make that up. We talked about God's orchestra. You can't make that up, okay? She couldn't play herself. Let's just think about that. Okay, okay. So then you get to meet your other self, and you have to talk her through all of who you are so that she can be as authentic as possible in this role. What was that like for you after they turned you down for playing yourself?
It was kind of neat. I mean, Danner, she has red hair. She already had red hair. She was about the same height, so we had that down. But all the softball stuff, like Danner's, she never played softball before. She played soccer.
Oh, wow.
So she's never played softball. So trying to teach someone all the years how I've been playing and just what.
So were you her trainer, Caitlin?
Kind of, yeah. I would say so.
If she'd never played ball, you had to.
She mirrored me. She did really well.
So you coached her to be you.
Yes.
This gets wilder as you tell the story, right? So when she's got the red hair, they take her arm and put it behind her. They build a prosthetic, and then you begin to help train her into this. The first time she was able to step out onto the field in the whole look and attitude, what did you think?
I kind of just saw I did like actually see myself like on the field. Like if I could be in her body, I would want to like help her out. I don't know how to say that, but
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So now we have a film that tells your story, that tells your family story. And we've got so much depth that lies within that. And because I don't want to tell everything, because y'all don't need to know until you go buy your ticket. Have I talked about that? You go to the theater on opening weekend. You buy your ticket. You sit down with your popcorn and you enjoy. But you got to go the first weekend. Don't forget that. We'll be right back. We got more to tell you about this wonderful story, the story of I Can.
Hi. Can I get the now bar, please?
No problem. $1.
Have a good one.
Got it.
Hi, can I get a now bar, please?
$1.
Thanks.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Hey, let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
You got it.
How's it going? Can I get a now bar?
Hey, stop right there! Get down on the ground! Out of your car, right? Keep there! Move over your head! Now!
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
There is a road laid out for me.
Boxes everywhere. And this is gonna be Addie's room.
I am blind,
You're really gonna like it.
I hope so. Yeah. I know this road is there for me. There is a love way.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Waist down by the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
I got this.
I know this love is there for me.
Okay.
If I'm really free, take me down to the river and wash me.
I think I found the best play I've seen in a long time.
Wait, is this the girl with one arm?
We did not bring her into this world the right way. She shouldn't come out the right way.
Let's call it what it was. An affair.
You have an incredible gift from God.
You think God is punishing you for what we did through our daughter's arm. People already look at me differently. Why didn't God stop that?
I know lately it feels like you've been on the losing streak. Maybe all of us, huh?
You can't keep living your life like God is punishing you.
You carry so much burden on your shoulders that you clearly can't handle.
look around and see how much God, He's blessed you.
God don't make mistakes. He's got a plan in all of this. He always does.
We are back with the Paveys, and this, I'm kind of giggling to myself because I had to stop the conversation because they were about to tell me something that I want you to know too. So, Eric, you were saying that how we got to the place for this actress to have the total look and understand what she was doing when her arm is placed behind her, and you bind her arm behind her. Then you have a prosthetic that you have to build.
Right. So Tyler said we can just make something out of styrofoam, or we can. I was like, no, I know a few people. Yeah, I was like, I know a few people. So I got in contact with this company, Blade Runners, who we've done some stuff with in the past, and I said, how can we build a prosthetic for her? And I explained what we were doing, and he said, well, get this material and make a mold out of Caitlin's arm. So Caitlin's fiance, Kevin, in her apartment, made a mold out of her arm, and I sent it off to this gentleman, and he made a plastic mold. And then he cut it out because he actually put his arm behind his back to see how it could be realistic. And we sent the pictures to him how she was. And he cut out a part of the prosthetic that allowed it to be put over top the elbow of the actress. And then when it hung down, it looked like her actual hand and arm because it was.
So this part of her arm is actually behind her?
Correct. So you can see like the actress's kind of elbow like it is with you right there. Here. And then the prosthetic fits over top of your tricep and then hangs down to like where hers kind of hangs down.
Got you.
And then that's why it looks like her actual arm. And then my uncle is a professional artist, and he took her skin tone and color and painted the arm to make it look like it.
Wow. So God just hooked that thing all up. You have a family member who can do the painting of the arm and all that. And then you have a friend that all falls into place. Here's what got me, and I was so excited to be here to see some of the shooting of the film. But when you all on the field, and I see you standing to the side, and I see your dad, and then the actors are all together. My husband's out there. Everybody's out there on the field. The excitement, the absolute joy and excitement of everybody who was involved was, it's going to sound, like I'm playing, but it really was electric. But when you guys began to fellowship together around what we call fellowship around duty, it was on another level. Is there anything, when you think of this process, that you can say, this one just about took me out? It was just that good. It was just that much fun. It was just that wonderful to see this all come together the way it has.
Probably to tag along with what you said. So we've had like Cameron and yourself, and you see him on major films, and to see how you are in person, and then to have like Mark Richt in here, and to see how he is in person, for him to give me his testimony, and to see Dan Roebuck and these people you've seen in movies, and you just, man, these are just real people. Because I'm just a down-home Southern boy, like you've talked to me, so I'm just real.
We roll with you.
Oh, I'm just real. So to have them be real with me, and to have you all be, I think for me, like you said, just the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Because that's how I am. I don't ever want to put on a front for anyone and be different, and to be able to do that, I think built that chemistry we had on set to just allow, because that's how we are. Like that's how we are as a church. That's how we are as friends. That's how we are as family. We just cut up with each other. We joke around and we just have a good time. And I think it just was contagious with everybody.
It really was contagious. But also, you are a bad girl on that field. I have to say that. I was like, okay, you are killing it out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I brag on her for a second?
Yes, Daddy, brag.
Because she don't ever brag about herself, so I'm gonna brag, because I think there's some audience members who don't know who she is or what she's done. So Caitlin is the first ever limb-different athlete in the state of Indiana to be an all-state player in any sport. She's also the first ever limb-different athlete to play in the North-South All-Star game.
Come on, Daddy.
She's the first ever athlete at our school, high school, to ever be an all-state player in any sport. And then she went on to college and she became an all-conference player. But the story gets better. So you can see she has a knee brace. So she blew out her ACL before her first official college game. And then she rehabbed it in 4 months and was back. And then she was an all-conference player after that, and her school shut down. She went to another school, Midway, having her best statistical category of any season, and COVID hit, threw that season away. Then her coaches at Cincinnati Christian went to Kentucky Christian, where she's currently playing. She went there and became an All-American. She is the first ever limb-different athlete in any sport to be an All-American in any sport. And then this year is her last year for her master's degree, and come to find out, she had shoulder surgery. She had some issues with her shoulder. She had a rib removed from her this summer. She had a rib removed and a surgery, came back from that. And then when she went to practice, her knee was hurting. Come to find out, she kind of partially retore her reconstructed ACL and her meniscus and scar tissue, and she's currently batting .364 and still playing every day for this game.
Come on now. Now, you know, you can say what you want to. Oh, the doctors, they were. Let me tell you about Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, that was not the doctors without Jesus. That there's no other way for this to happen but him to have an assignment specifically on this life. So the assignment is being walked out.
Yep.
Because somebody else needs to have that testimony. There's another family. There are more families that need to know what God will do. You know, as I said, you are a bad girl. I'm about ready to jump out and look here. You know, I come from Southern Baptist folk where they run around the church 4 times and scream a whole bunch, but I'm contained right now. Bad girl. When you think about Caitlin, all that you have been through, what is it, the one thing that you want to leave with somebody?
That's, so I was going to say that I have a small Bible group that I'm in at school, and it's all athletes, and we're talking about, you know, what we want to show others on and off the field. And I didn't come to realize this until I got a little bit older, that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God. Like, he gave me all the talents and all the abilities to play this sport. Why not glorify him with it? And so I try now to, everything I say on the field, off the field, all my actions, I hope that if someone was out in the stands, if they were an atheist or if they were struggling with their faith, that they saw me with how I played and what I talked about, that they could see Christ through me. And so every time I go on the field, I hope that someone can see Christ in me.
Woo!
And even though I mentioned all the accomplishments she had, I mentioned this we did a TV interview yesterday. The biggest thing I'm proud of with her is the woman in Christ she's became, and that she's owned it. I mean, them awards and things are great, but how she carries herself and what she says to individuals is more important to me than any award.
That's it. That's it. That's just so good. That is Christ over career. That is it. So if you've thought whatever you're going through, you can't go any further, just think back to this testimony. And then look at yourself and think back to what God did for you that morning, yesterday, the day before, the day before. He loves you like that. I'm BJ Arnett. This is BJA Today.